Thank you. Inclusion is fake. It's an illusion. In recent years, we've had a global shift towards inclusion for neurodiverse individuals in mainstream education, with reports like the Salamanca Report 1997, which was the benchmark for this shift, and Education 2030, we have made massive strides towards bringing about inclusion in mainstream education. But in all of our progress, we've forgotten one crucial factor: our teachers. Our neurodiverse teachers. How can we profess to be inclusive if we do not include everybody? Let me tell you a story. So I knew this kid, grew up feeling a little bit less than everybody else, feeling less intelligent, became labeled in school and at home as not really picking it up as quick as everybody else. Always the last one to be sat at the kitchen table while everyone else went off to play, crying over red marks on work, teachers shouting to hurry up. Became labeled as stupid. And that's what the internal talk said. But they struggled on, and they got through education and somehow ended up in university, crippled with imposter syndrome. In university, their worst fear was realized when a professor said to them, "You shouldn't be here." Thankfully, not long after, another professor said, "I think you should get assessed for dyslexia." And everything changed. Instead of it being a negative, it became this amazing thing for them. Why? Because they suddenly realized, I'm not stupid, I'm not unintelligent, I'm not less than anybody else. I just process information in a different way. I just need a little bit more time and a different strategy. And so they become so empowered by it that they went on to become a teacher themselves to help the very kids that are just like them. Except it didn't quite work out that way. Because when they entered into the education sector, it became really obvious that we don't talk about them things. Because you can't be an English teacher and be dyslexic. And you certainly cannot be the head of English and be dyslexic. So they put their mask back on again. And the imposter syndrome came raging back. And they hid in plain sight, afraid of being found out, afraid of complaints from peers, complaints from parents, being passed over for promotion, losing their job. And so this compounded, and they became stressed and anxious and burnt out, and eventually left the classroom. UNESCO reports that by 2030, we will have a lack of 44 million teachers worldwide, and that includes the Western world. And with 80% of people estimated to be leaving education now without diagnosis, it begs the question, how many of our teachers or educators are neurodiverse, dyslexic, dyspraxic, ADHD, autistic, and so on? We don't know. Why? They don't talk about it. How can we preach inclusion if we do not include everyone? How do we include everyone? Well, that's a really good question, and maybe we should look at the business sector. Massive corporations all over the world, including government agencies, are actively seeking neurodiverse individuals for their traits, for their characteristics, for an analysis of data, of identifying patterns, of understanding subtle changes in behavior. And so they've realized all of a sudden that if they have a good mix of neurodiverse people and neurotypical people and bring them together, they're going to optimize their teams, working towards their strengths, and this is really good for their profit margin. So if this is happening in the business sector, why is it not happening in the education sector? Could it be that we are afraid of societal judgment? I think so. But hang on a second. Imagine we are all senior management, okay, of an educational institute. And we have to hire a new team. And we hire these guys. So we've got Steve Jobs innovating all over IT. We've got John Lennon banging out the tunes in the music department. We've got Agatha Christie teaching English lit like it's never been taught before. We've got Tom Cruise, Mission Impossible, all over drama. We've got Einstein with his hair on fire in the science department. All amazing, all out-of-the-box thinkers, and all neurodiverse, actually all dyslexic. Would we be ashamed or afraid to present these people as our education staff? I don't think so. But what if we had these guys? Just as amazing, all great teachers, possibly neurodiverse. You know the teachers I'm talking about. The teacher that got you outside to dress up in all the battle gear to go and reenact in battle so that you knew what it was about. Those that got you to wrap all of your different science facts and data. Those who've maybe just turned up dressed in Shakespearean outfit in character to teach you English lit. And yes, that is me, the dumb head of English. How can we profess inclusion if we do not include the educators, the very fabric of our education system? Well, how do we include them? White, in a recent research project all over Australia in collaboration with the University of Glasgow, found that neurodiverse literacy, so the understanding of autism, dyslexia, dyspraxia, ADHD, so on, what it looks like and what it is at senior management level was imperative. In fact, it's fundamental. Why? Because it keeps the conversation going through our education system. It also makes sure that senior management understand what inclusive practice looks like in the lecture theatre and in classrooms. Because if we have buy-in at the top, then it means that the bottom-up approach has far more probability of being successful. And what if we let the kids do the heavy lifting? Bear with me. So if we teach our kids from infancy to tertiary level about what it is to have different learning needs, then by the time they get to the workforce, inclusion isn't even a topic. For example, once upon a time, wearing a pair of glasses, you might have been ridiculed, right? You might have been bullied. But now, we don't even think about it. Why? Because we know why you're wearing the glasses, right? But with dyslexia, we still have the, means you can't read or write. Well, actually, I can read and write, just maybe a little bit slower and pick up some other details along the way, some creative details along the way. So if we let the kids, we teach the kids, they will make the shift for us in our society as a whole. And they will bring about unity. Unity between neurodiverse people and between neurotypical people in our society to benefit everyone. White also talks about the double empathy problem. And basically, the double empathy problem is that neurodiverse people, well, we don't understand the neurotypicals, and the neurotypicals, well, they don't understand us. And to be honest, I would like to take that one step further and say, we don't understand each other either, and they don't understand each other either. And really, at the end of the day, we're all unique. Our brain is like a thumbprint. We are all unique. We all have barriers. We all have problems and things that come up for us, but we all have strengths and we all have attributes. And if we bring those together and we recognize that and we optimize it in classrooms, in groups, in companies like they're already doing, then we can bring about an awareness and an acceptance into society in general. How will that benefit us? Well, imagine having better student and teacher mental health and well-being. What about retention of teachers, which we desperately need? And bringing about a safe environment where neurodiverse teachers, just like me, can stand up and say, you know what? If I can do it, you can do it. I stand here in front of you today, a former classroom teacher. Left the classroom to make a difference. And I propose to you now that it's time that we drop the mask, that we allow our teachers to come together and work together for the best of society. Now is the time. Now is the time. It is history in the making right now. But the question is, are you brave enough? Are we brave enough? Are we brave enough to implement real, true, authentic, genuine inclusion? Or will we just create the illusion of inclusion? And to those of you, neurodiverse, nonconformists, just like me, I say, don't be silent. Stand in your power. Be proud of who you are. Own it. And be part of the solution. Thank you.